Don't tell anyone, but today I'm sanding down the hull using P80 grit. So a little update here, mate. So just to let you know, I mean, obviously at the moment I'm having to do mucho de boat maintenance. Once I've done that and I get the boat in the water, I'm going to start sailing around and talking about more interesting things and turn it into a little bit of a travelling vlog, speaking to local people, finding out some local stuff, you know, facts about the area, that sort of thing. I really should plan things before I start talking. So, task today is to get the boat looking like that underneath. Got to get all this off. I tried sanding it yesterday, which has worked, but my God, I mean, it's dusty and dirty. It's a horrible job. So what I was thinking was, if I get pressure washer, I might be able to just blast this off, because it is ablative antifoul, which is supposed to wear off. Because sanding it, obviously this stuff is toxic. It's creating a lot of dust. That was blowing down the marina. I wasn't that happy about that. So this would be a kinder way to do it to everyone around me, and kinder to myself. And pressure washing is just great fun. So, does it work? The answer is yeah. Video update. Well, I've tried pressure washing it, and that's great where there's hardly any antifoul, but with the orbital sander that takes it straight off as well. So it's probably worth going across the boat with the pressure washer to get off the worst of the stuff, or the easiest of the stuff, and then where it's thick I'm going to have to use the orbital sander. I've tried a wire brush. Mainly what it's doing is polishing the surface up, which is not what we want. So unfortunately, back to plan A, orbital sander. But I'm going to go around with the pressure washer first. One, it's fun. Two, it's going to show me where the stubborn bits are, and then I can do that, go and have a cup of tea, because it's about that time. It's always tea time, actually, you know. Go and have a cup of tea. By that time she would have dried off nicely, you know, lovely. Then I'll set about it with the orbital sander, and everybody's happy except me, because I'm going to have to be like that and with dust in my face, and this is one of my least favourite things, especially when the dust is poisonous, and I do suffer a little bit from breathing difficulties now. Well, we've got that done, and now I'm going to go have a cup of tea. Nice to finish nice. So a quick walk round will reveal that that was worth it. Although there's still a lot under there, especially under here. Actually, this side's pretty damn good, but there's under this side here needs some sanding, which is obviously the most inaccessible part of the boat. But that's fine. Because the weather's good before I go tonight, I'll try and get a coat of primer on the whole thing. Just a thin coat. Again, that will bind, it's epoxy primer, so that will bind the surface. Again, protect it, and it will give a good base for the epoxy. My sanding, I've got the hoover down, and I've connected it to my orbital sander. It has like a bag, but inside the bag there's like a hose connection piece, so I thought I'd just try that. And I've done this before and it gets really annoying because the cable gets messed up, so I've tie wrapped the cable to the Hoover hose. And first reports are I did some sanding and there was no dust was escaping from that tool at all, so I don't even need to wear a mask. There's no dust, so, and that makes it so much easier to do because honestly they're getting covered in dust and sweating, and the dust going in as poisonous stuff as well. It irritates, so this is a great answer. Is this the way to thickening plot? Yes, it is. Follow me. So there was me thinking that this was okay, this is good enough. But this, I started to look at this black stuff, and over the years I've noticed a bit of flaking away. You can see it there slightly. And then, I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of not nice. So I dug through the paperwork of the boat. So this boat had osmosis treatment in 2005. They've done a great job, so there's absolutely nothing that's come back. So to put on copper coat, you've got to get back to gel coat or something. You can't have any old antifoul on. This is where I primed it when I thought I was back to the base, but that is just, it's anti-foul, and the red is also anti-foul. The grey is the primer that's been put on top of this fairing compound, which has gone on top of fiberglass. So what they did is they hot backed it, it's called, got all the moisture out, and then they put 450 weight matting on it and epoxied it and then faired it. So that's the fairing I'm getting back to. So for my epoxy primer to properly stick and for my DIY copper coat to properly stick, I need to be back to that, and that needs to be properly scratched up, like 80 grit, which is what I'm using. So I've got to take the whole boat back. All of that needs to be sanded back to like that. I did a little scrapey session here. That's quite good, but it takes a lot of energy. But it is a good solution because that's back to the proper substrate there. Now I could just rough that up. Basically there's no quick way around this. So elbow grease is required. So I'll let you know if I come up, the best technique I come up with. Sandblasting is not allowed here in this marina. So I was going to do that originally, but they said no. And wet blasting, I don't even know where to start with that or how much it would cost, and I've got time, so I just need to get on with this. So whilst that's slow and hard work, that's right down to the layer there that I need to get to. So a light sand, a quicksand to key it after that will be all we need. So obviously I'm going to try and find some techniques that work well, but I'm just going to start at the back and work to the front. Why did you buy a boat, Des? Oh, so I could have more leisure time. Anyway, so I've done that all the way back now to fairing that they've put on the osmosis treatment, so that will be a good substrate to connect to with the primer. But this is tough going, but I've just found a technique that works fairly well. I'll show it to you now, right, just while I'm in the swing of things here. So what I found is that if I actually rest that on there and push this way like this with quite a lot of weight on it. So you see, once you, I mean, it's tiring, good workout, isn't it? You know what I mean? I'm gonna be a boxer. That's quick, and you know, apart from when you occasionally dig in and it takes a chunk out, which, you know, if you're doing it like I'm doing it there, the angle's pretty shallow, so, and you know, you're kind of going in a nice, it just follows the shape of the boat nicely. So I've tried it going like this. That creates little chips like that, or you can put your shoulder in there, lad, and go. Sound like one of those modern tennis players, don't I? I hope no one's watching. I mean, can hear. But when somebody walks up and they see you doing stuff like that, it's like, morning. But we all feel like that inside, don't we? We all do. Right now, before you think I'm going completely balmy, which is always a possibility, don't judge me until I've explained it. The idea of this is, if it rains, it's going to rain, hopefully the water will come down, hit the skirt and drip off straight down, rather than come down onto the hull. So I want to keep the hull as dry as possible, but with all the best will in the world, I don't think I'm going to get this primed today, because this is busting work, and I've only got so much energy. So I'm going to put the skirt on now. This is a good recommendation for when you're doing copper coating as well. I saw this on some other chap on the internet had done this, and I thought it was a great idea. But if I can keep the whole boat, unless we have horizontal rain, of course, and there's not very much you can do about that. But yeah, that's a good little solution. But yeah, you see there's a dirty mark there. That's where the water comes down and drips here, and it goes all the way down the bottom of the hull and off the bottom of the skeg there. So Desmond, was today successful? Yeah, I think it was actually. Thanks for asking. Would you like to see what I've done? That'd be great. So I've put on the skirt, I've scraped all that. No mean feat, let me tell you. Got done the odd patch here and there. I should have done a fair bit. The back here, look, that's pretty cool. Done the whole of the skeg. This side is going to be relatively simple. This side I'm scraping off like layers and layers of anti-foul, and so this side's is definitely harder. But if it's not raining tomorrow, I should be able to knock that out tomorrow. Just want to do a bit more research on primer. I want to get that right, because if you get the wrong primer on here and it falls off and all the copper coat comes with it, we're talking about huge amount of work and a huge amount of expense, and I don't want that. No siree, no siree, I don't want either of those things. All right, I'm out. Bye. Combination of techniques required. So I've been scraping, and it's incredibly hard work, and some of this is just like impossible to shift. So I'm just going to sand this a bit. Where's the scraper gone? Keep losing that line. It's almost like I don't want to do it. Varying techniques not only breaks monotony, it can help the process, but you've got to keep interested. And I find too much of one thing, and I just start to lose motivation. So yeah, so by I've just sanded this down, and let's see how easy this goes. It's just a lot easier. And whilst the sanding adds an extra step, I don't do it all the time, but if I start to get tired, it uses different muscles, and so therefore you can muscles here and here. So it just keeps you engaged in the process, really. And it is quite hard when you approach a task this size to motivate yourself. So it's about breaking it down into manageable chunks, and that's why I do stuff like this, because that then I can finish that. If I stand back and look at the boat, it's like but yeah, I can do that. So that's a good adage for life, really. Put one foot in front of the other, deal with things as they come along, and then before you know it, you're making progress. Already, this time next year we could own the biggest suit shop in the world. We could be paid to the favours. So how much fun is this? Not much fun, but I'm nearly there. On this side I've just got that to go. If somebody said, oh, got a couple of days spare, what should I do? Scrape all the paint from the bottom of a boat is not one of them, okay? So, but we're nearly there. Starting to look pretty damn good, actually. Got a couple of little chunks I've taken out there where I was getting overzealous with the scraper, and I've sanded that bit, so that's how it's going to look before I prime it. It's pretty good. So ball busting, but it's worth every moment of my time to create a nice job, a nice hull, a good key for the not copper coat. Don't want to get into trouble. Is it a trade name? True story. Sadly, Charlie Watts died today, drummer from the Rolling Stones. But he used to come to our house.